I've been making a lot more of an effort lately to actually have a wish list and try to get plants that are only on that wish list, because if I don't, I tend to over purchase and get a lot more plants than I say need, but I mean, it's not necessarily a need. So yeah, I've been purchasing more plants from my wish list and less plants that aren't on it. But that being said, I do need to update it periodically, because then I end up purchasing all the plants that are there and I want more, but then I just need a list to go off of. So I've actually found quite a few plants from my last wish list that I made, and so I've updated it very recently and I wanted to share that with you guys today. First things first though, we're gonna go through some of my newer purchases that are from my old wish list that I managed to find and I'm really liking in my space. The most recent of these plants was actually just yesterday, and it was a lemon lime maranta. And this is one that I was looking for a bigger size of, because I had seen a lot of little 4-inch pots of them, but I wanted one that was just starting to kind of like trail over the size of the pot. But I found this one yesterday and it's literally perfect. There's maybe one leaf that's all crispy at the end, but other than that, it's the perfect plant, and I really, really love it, and I'm really glad that I found it. But it was probably one of the harder ones to find on my wish list, because I found a lot of red veined marantas, but I couldn't find a lot of lemon lime ones. And so it was just a bit harder to find, and harder than I thought it would have been to find. But yes, so he's the newest addition to my collection that is from my wish list. And the next one that I got was my Peperomia Hope. And I actually wanted a full like hanging basket of this. There had been some little like terrarium sized Peperomia Hope that I had seen before, but I wanted a full basket and I hadn't seen them before. So this was another one that I was anticipating to be a bit harder to find, but I did manage to find one at just like a regular grocery store. So I found this hanging basket and it's very full. I need to water it, I think. I'm not sure exactly how to tell when it needs watering, but the pot feels very light. So we're gonna water it probably for the first time today. But it is very full and it's trailing in several areas. And it was a really good price too. I think it was like $17. And yeah, so that was one of the wishlist plants that I just wasn't really expecting to find like very soon. But I saw some people in the Facebook group that I'm in post that a local grocery store had some, so I went over straight away and they had like 3 left, so I managed to get one and I'm super happy with it. The leaves are super thick and lush, and I mean that's one of my favorite qualities about some of these plants. So yeah, I hope he does really well. I might repot him into a different pot just because I don't love these hanging baskets that they come in sometimes. But yeah, he's been a good addition as well. The next one was my Neon Pothos, and this has actually grown quite a bit since I got it, so it might need to be in a bigger pot soon, because right now it's just in a 4-inch hanging pot, and I do see some roots coming out of the bottom. But this one, yeah, it was one of my favorite ones from my wish list, and it was one of the common ones, of course, but I really just like Pothos, and I thought it was a lot different than my golden one that I have. But I got him and then my Pearls and Jade Pothos on the same day, and that one I'll show next. And he was just so full and lush, and yeah, he was a definite need in terms of worthy of like qualifying as my wishlist plant that I wanted. Because like I said in that video, I didn't want one that was like just tiny little starter plant. I wanted one that was already trailing and already quite full. So that's why he took the cake for this one. And then here is my Pearls and Jade Pothos. I said that I wanted either an Enjoy or Pearls and Jade just because they look so similar to me, so I wasn't very fussy which kind. But this one was almost trailing because I didn't want one that was just already trailing, because then you don't really get to watch it grow as much, I feel like, if that makes any sense at all. So this one was just in a full 6-inch pot, and if you can see on this side right here, he's got a vine that's starting to trail off a bit. And I mean, that's exactly how I wanted it. So I was very lucky to find one that was right at that stage where it was just trailing, but not quite. He did come with a mild case of spider mite, so he is quarantined right now from the rest of my plants, but it's not that bad of a case, so I'm not too worried about him bouncing back. So now on to my new wish list plants. These are all kind of specific to like size and that sort of stuff, because I understand a lot of these aren't hard to find, but I just want a particular size of them, and the size is sometimes harder to find, and just like the right plant, you know, it's hard to come by sometimes. So first is a Monstera Deliciosa, and I already have a small baby one, but it doesn't have any fenestrations, and I just want one that will be like a large floor plant for my main room. And like I'm not too fussed right now with like the variegateds and all that sort of stuff, although they're gorgeous. It's just not really like what I'm wanting right now, but I just want like a medium size one, not like a super large one where it's like kind of hard to handle and, you know, kind of takes up the entire space and all that sort of stuff, but kind of just one that is big enough to kind of hold its own with some of my other bigger plants, but not so big that it just takes over everything and is like the main statement plant, if that makes any sense at all. The next one I've only seen once or twice, but it's a black pagoda lipstick plant. I haven't seen these all over the place, but when I do see them, they are very full and very like lush and just not, you know, little starter plants or anything like that, which is a good thing because I do want a hanging basket of it. I've only seen it at like 2 nurseries around me, so I might have to order online at some point if I don't see one in the near future, but I'm hoping with the summer months coming in and everywhere kind of starting to get that warmer weather, I'm not gonna have as hard a time finding these plants that I'm wanting. And I'm looking for the black pagoda lipstick plant specifically because the regular lipstick plant is just a bit too plain. It looks a bit like a lot of other plants that I have, and I like the variety in my plants, and I like getting plants that look completely different than the rest of the ones that I already have. And the next one that I'm wanting is another one that's not super uncommon by any means at all. It's actually very common, but I just want a ZZ plant, and I want one that's like not just a table plant. I want a floor plant, but not a really massive one that you know, like you see in the malls and all that sort of stuff. I know these grow a lot faster in the summer, so I'm hoping to get one before summer's like nearly over. So I want one that will be able to kind of similar to the Monstera, take up some space in my apartment, but not, you know, take over completely. So yeah, I have my eyes out for that. And all of these as well, I'm kind of just looking for like a good like price for what I'm getting as well. Like I'm always one for a good bargain, so I don't want anything that's like too expensive or like pay too much for something that I could get a lot cheaper elsewhere. So that turns it into a bit more of a hunt. So it's not just like I can go to one nursery and get all of these things, because then that might not be the best price. And if you've seen my last plant tour, you would have known that I did actually get a Hoya, and I've been liking it a lot so far actually. So I am in the mood to get a lot more Hoya in my collection, and the one that I have my eye on currently is the Hoya Obovata. And I haven't seen this, I think I've seen it once actually. I've seen it once in one nursery like months ago, but I haven't seen it since. And I have my eye out for that one because I've seen this picture floating around Instagram, and I'm sure we've all seen it if you're on Instagram at all, but it is gorgeous. And I just love the trailing big leaves, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so I just want one. I'd be even happy with a starter plant for that one just because I know they grow semi-quick depending on the conditions you give them. But I think it'd be super fun to watch that grow as well. A plant that was on my last wish list that I have carried over to this wish list is the Cebu Blue Pothos. It's one that I just still haven't found the right one yet. I've seen little cuttings being sold here and there, but I would like at least a full 4-inch pot. Like I don't need a big full like 6-inch hanging basket or anything like that. But I don't want just like one little cutting that, you know, I know it will grow and everything like that, but I have a lot of starter plants already, and this one is one that I just want a bigger plant so I can maybe experiment a bit with it and take some cuttings off of that and have a couple more to like grow along with it. So I'm a bit pickier when it comes to that. And I've seen them popping up a lot in like Walmart, Home Depots and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just hoping that if I hold out, I'll find one of those that's like $20. But I mean, obviously I need to be super lucky for that, but I'm still just holding out for that chance. And then another one that's carried over from my last wish list is the Alocasia Frydek. And this is one that I haven't had the opportunity to actually buy yet. I haven't seen anybody selling one. I haven't seen them in the nurseries or anything like that. So when it comes to the point where I really, really want this plant, like more, like once I get all the other wish list plants out of the way, and this one, if it's still not like around at all, then I'll probably turn to online sellers and see if I can get one shipped to me. The last one on my wish list, actually, like I own the plant, but it's kind of just, I want to start doing something different with it and get it to a certain state, if that makes any sense. And let me grab the plant real quick so I can like show you a bit. But I have this silver stripe, right? And it's been growing great, and it's so much more full than it was even last October. So I'm super excited to see it like continue to take off and everything. And there's some leaves that are super, super variegated down here at the bottom, and then obviously some that just aren't. But I need to chop it up a bit, and like, as you can see, it's very full on this side and not so much on this side. So I do need to like chop it up a bit and propagate it to get a more full plant. I'm kind of just scared to chop the ends with like the really good variegation. But what I'm wanting is, I'm sure you've all seen the Philodendron or the Pothos that are on the moss poles, and they get very, very big leaves. And if they're variegated, they look so pretty and so incredibly cool. I just thought it would look really cool if I did that with my silver stripe, because if we had leaves like this, but they were like really, really big because they were growing on a moss pole, I think that would look like phenomenal. So I think that's gonna be my next project to take on, is to propagate this a bit and get a good section of like high variegation and then attach it to a moss pole and grow it from there. And like I said, I don't know if this counts as like a wish list plant, but I do want a moss poled or a totemed silver stripe philodendron. And it seems like I'm gonna have to make that myself because I haven't seen one. I haven't like looked very hard, but I haven't seen one even online. So I'm gonna do that, I think, and then track the progress that it makes. It should do well. I can't imagine why it wouldn't. But that is my last wish list plant, and probably the one that's gonna obviously take the most time because I have to grow it myself. But yeah, I'm super excited to see how that goes. And if you wanna see the progress on that when I do start it, check out my Instagram. It's just at the petite plant as well. It'll be linked down in my description as well, but I will track the progress more closely for that. I'll do videos every so often, but that's where the most detailed progress is probably gonna be tracked. But yeah, that's my current wish list. And I mean, it's literally only been a couple months since my last wish list and I've gotten most of the plants on that one. So I'm sure in a couple months time, I would have found all of these, or at least some of them. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some ideas for your wish list as well. And if you have any others that I should consider putting on mine, because I'm always open to new plant ideas, leave them down in the comments below, because I'm really familiar with common plants, but just the rarer ones or just the more uncommon, I still just haven't got my hands on many of them, so I'm always open to getting some of those as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please give the video a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys later.